The classic comedy, Some Like It Hot. In Los Angeles, Jane Russell, Marilyn's co-star in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Donald O'Connor, he was with Marilyn in There's No Business Like Show Business. Plus, famed photojournalist George Barris, who did Marilyn's final photo shoot. In New York, former Life magazine editor Richard Merriman, who interviewed Marilyn at length just a few weeks before her death. Renowned movie producer David Brown, the original producer of Marilyn's last film, Something's Gotta Give. And James Haspel, Marilyn's friend and author of a new book, The Unpublished Marilyn. They're all next on Larry King Live.
Girl's best friend.
Good evening and welcome to what is a very special edition of Larry King Live. June 1st, the 75th, would have been the 75th birthday of the late Marilyn Monroe. And we have assembled 7 people, all of whom were intertwined in some way or other with her life. We'll start with Richard Merriman, the former editor of Life magazine in our New York bureau, who interviewed Marilyn only a few weeks before her death. Tell us about that interview, how it was set up, what were the circumstances, Richard?
It was to be a piece on fame. I had no real idea what I was going to do. The minute Marilyn started talking, I knew instantly that I wanted to reproduce her words like a monologue on the page. She talked with just this tremendous gusto, images tumbling over each other, sometimes not making a lot of sense. Wonderful laugh that started low and ended in this squeak. Gestures, working with her hands, leaning forward, talking with all this vitality, and yet underneath that was this woman who was having such a lot of trouble with fame and with life in general.
Did you sense then a sense of depression?
I felt that she was terribly vulnerable, terribly needy, terribly distrustful. She felt betrayed right and left. She felt betrayed by her friends. She talked about how she was beginning to have wonderful friends, and suddenly they would be talking to the press, they'd be telling stories to other people. She talked about her co-actors. One she mentioned who'd said that she didn't name him, but he had likened kissing her to kissing Hitler.
There was a very honest, refreshing look at a person.
Yes,
yeah.
And she talked about how people would invite her to dinner to brighten up the table, and that she was like a pianist who would perform after dinner, an ornament.
Donald, all right, hold on there, Richard. Donald O'Connor, what was she like to work with?
Always found her to be a lot of fun, a lot of joy. She was a gal, was very much like me. I think, you know, any good performer, you've got to be quiet, you know, to memorize your lines. She would go off, be quiet, concentrate on what she was doing, but she got it all together. She came back, and we had a lot of fun together, the days I worked with her in the movie.
Tony Curtis, what was she like to work with?
She was the best. This first guy that spoke doesn't know what he's talking about.
It's Richard Merriman.
I don't care if it's Sylvia. Let me tell you, they've taken this woman and kind of blown it into something that never existed. They keep writing books about her. They keep, there was a movie out about her called Blondie or something, and it's got nothing to do with what Marilyn was like. Absolutely nothing. An interview in a restaurant or spending a weekend somewhere does not give you a clue to what was the madness of this woman. She was so sensitive to the world. She was not prepared. She was ill, physically ill and mentally ill when we did Some Like It Hot. I knew her 10 years earlier. We were good friends. We were lovers. And then here we are making this movie. And everybody's screaming at her, get there on time, you're late, we're going to put you on suspension, you're going to get kicked off the film. There was no one around her to be her friend. Marilyn was not that complicated, guys. She wasn't that vulnerable either. She was a tough, beautiful woman. And I never said kissing her was like kissing Hitler. She and I
didn't
were.
say that was you.
Never said. Yeah, well, that's what this guy implies.
No, he didn't.
Well, trust me, Larry. That's what they say.
Okay.
I said it. Okay.
All right.
And that's not true.
Jane, is he right?
Well, when I worked with Marilyn, it was really only her second starring role. And she was shy about going out on the set. But her makeup man told my makeup man that she was all ready. She'd been in way before I had. And so I said, well, I'll just go by and get her. And I'd go by and say, come on, baby, it's time, you know. And she'd go, oh, okay. And she'd just get up and trot along. She was a...
You liked her?
Yeah, very much.
We've got lots more to hear from and lots more guests to deal with, and we'll go round the table as we continue this saga of Marilyn Monroe. Don't go away.
A kiss may be grand, but it won't pay the rental on your humble flat or help you at the automat. Men grow cold as girls grow old, and we all lose our charms in the end. But square cut or pear shape, these rocks don't lose their shape. Diamonds are a girl's best.
Have you ever been with a male band?
Who? Me?
That's what I'm running away from. I worked with 6 different ones the last 2 years. Oh, brother.
Rob?
I'll say.
You can't trust those guys.
I can't trust myself. I have this thing about saxophone players, especially tenor sax.
Really?
I don't know what it is, but they just curdle me. All they have to do is play 8 bars of Come to Me, My Melancholy Baby, and my spine turns to custard. I get goose pimply all over, and I come to them.
That's all?
Every time.
You know, I play tenor sax.
But you're a girl, thank goodness.
Oh, yeah.
George Barris, the famed photojournalist, you did the final photo shoot with Marilyn, is that correct?
That's correct, Larry.
What was that like?
She was a delight. I don't know what anyone else says about her, but we hit it off great. I met her first in 1954 when they came to New York to do the location for 7-Year Itch. We're both Geminis, and we became friends instantly. You either like a person or you don't, and we hit it off. She was just a doll to work with.
And you did the book Marilyn, Her Life in Her Own Words, revealing last words and photographs.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful book, and this was the book we did together. And I want to present it to you, Larry, because this is her last words, and these photographs are fantastic.
Thank you. David Brown, the film producer, you were the original producer of Something's Got to Give, her last movie, but you weren't the final producer. What happened?
What happened, Larry, is that my partner Dick Zanuck said one day, they're carrying your script in the elevator. A guy named Henry Weinstein, watch your back. I was a former top executive at 20th Century Fox who had the effrontery to criticize the new head of production, and as a result, I was sent to Siberia as a producer. Nobody thought that my first project, Something's Got to Give, would attract George Cukor, and in fulfillment of a commitment, that's the important key, Marilyn's last picture, because Marilyn really was forced to do the film under a Fox commitment.
Did you get along with her?
Fine, as long as I was there. You see, I knew Marilyn Monroe from 1952 when I first met her coming up the steps of the administration building, the most beautiful girl in the world, and I bought the stories for her as Fox's story editor. She came into the story department and wanted to see what was new, what synopses we had, what books. It's a canard that she was a bimbo. Never. She was a brilliant woman. She had a great sense of story. It was no joke that she wanted to do the Brothers Narizimov. I'll get that right someday.
Karamazov.
Thank you, Larry. You can be my coach. She aspired to higher things. That's why she was married to Arthur Miller. That's why she was associated with Lee Strasberg. She wanted to be a fine actress.
James Haspel, the final of our panelists, and then we'll go round robin. You were a friend of hers. You wrote Young Marilyn, Becoming the Legend, Marilyn, The Ultimate Look, and the forthcoming book, The Unpublished Marilyn. Is everyone